This is All India Radio. Welcome to Science Serial, Life Must Go On. All India Radio, in collaboration with Vigyan-Prasar, presents Science Serial, Life Must Go On, based on understanding and managing sustainable development. Episode number 9, interactive program based on listeners' letters.
Life must go on. Well, it is. Or is it? We are well into the 9th episode of our science serial Life Must Go On. And to discuss more about, to take stock of what we've done and to discuss the coming episodes, to discuss letters that we have received from our listeners and a host of other subjects, we've invited Mr. Amitabh Ranjan, Registrar, Indian Institute of Public Administration, New Delhi, Dr. O.P. Mishra, Scientist, Ministry of Earth Sciences, and ex-Director of the Disaster Management Center of SARC. And we have Mr. B.K. Tyagi, Senior Scientist, Vigyan-Prasar, and of course Dr. R. Gopichandran, Director of Vigyan-Prasar, to discuss issues related with the theme of this particular science serial, that is sustainable development. Dr. Gopichandran, let me come to you first. We are well into the 9th episode, and 9 episodes is quite a long journey. Would you like to recap, reinforcing the essence and the sentiment behind this entire endeavor that we all embarked upon together?
While I get started, I think I must, on behalf of Vigyan-Prasar, express my deep sense of gratitude, not only to All India Radio, but to our entire country. We have wonderful brothers and sisters who are listening to whatever we are deliberating on. My colleague Tyagi Saab was the one who thought it was very important to highlight some of these aspects, especially when India is transitioning from very sound knowledge capital into the benefits that science, technology, innovation can get for the market. India has always been, over the last 5 to 6 decades, has always been at the center of a lot of this development. When things like sustainable development and their challenges became a larger, let's say, an apparition, if it were, if the word could be used, on the center stage of development world over, we thought it was very important that from Vigyan-Prasar, can we carry messages about sustainable development, the principles and practice for all our citizens. I must say the credit for this, as I said earlier, goes to my colleague Tyagi and to several others across the country who are responsible for developing the script. Though this kind of a Thanksgiving was a bit long, I think this human value of acknowledging the contribution everyone can make is central to sustainable development.
Makes the endeavor sustainable.
Which precisely is the name of the game. Live and let live. Acknowledge the services nature provides us. There will be a wonderful discussion later, I'm sure, with Dr. Mishra, who will tell us how the Ministry of Earth Sciences has been able to provide proxy indicators of changes in nature. They are proxy because what is happening in nature is being quantified by us. To that extent, I call it a proxy indicator. Central to all of that is the preparedness of the individual to respond to the call for action. How many ever programs we do, it will always tantamount to only a top-down approach. Sustainable development cannot survive by itself through a top-down approach. The call, therefore, through this is for a bottom-up groundswell, saying that, look, my dear brothers and sisters across the country, you're doing a great job. The Indian ethos, which is covered in episode number 6, highlighted how India, human values and Indian values are entrenched in this ethos of sustainable development. I will take just about a few more seconds. 52 episodes of this are, in fact, thematically distributed across several themes. The first one, which was about 8 of the sub-themes, have been introductory in nature. This is to help us understand that, yes, every one of us have a very important role to play. And this will transform itself into benefits only if it practice values that science brings us. Without practice of these values, we might have 100 other programs, but we will never be able to do justice to the kind of learning that nature provides us. The central point with which I'll stop at this point of time. During a discussion earlier, one of my colleagues asked, are we not chasing an economic agenda? And how do we therefore introduce a protection agenda for sustainable development. I would like to highlight the fact that there is something called ecosystem services. And ecosystem services are quantified in economic terms to tell everyone that, look, you're losing so much if you do not protect. And that therefore becomes a driving force. Economics, after all, is not bad. It can be put to good use.
Mr. Tyagi, this serial, like many other, is your brainchild, if I may call it so. And we've done a lot of serials together, All India Radio and Vigyan-Prasar. In your view, how different is this particular concept from the ones we did earlier?
Yeah, Manoj, I think this is something very interesting because what Gopiji has said, he has briefed about the philosophical aspect. But now when we have to come at the administrative level for actual delivery of the things, we are talking about Sustainable Development Goal, to which India is a signatory, that UN declaration part. And the concept of sustainability or Sustainable Development Goal, those 17 goals which has been defined in that document, these cannot be achieved if we are all not contributing. First, it is the understanding part and the action, or the understanding and the action required on each of us at individual level. That is must. So we took as a part of Science Communication Challenge to convey what are the Sustainable Development Goals, how and what the science involved in that, what are the possible solutions which already the science has given, with the risk associated with that, and this is the direction. So this entire serial is an attempt to communicate science about the sustainability, so that we all should be part of that a movement, not only nationally, internationally, because the human race is now at the verge of so-called we are facing a threat of extinction. So until and unless we each is contributing towards that goal, understanding the resources not only in economic term but its ecological, ethical and the aesthetic value in totality. So it's like balancing the development with three dimensions. That is not only economical only, it has to be with the environmental perspective, and the third one is more in a social perspective. So this serial is, in all its episode, we have around 7 segments. So where the different topic, different concept and the thing has been distributed. The next segment, because this was the first for which we are all here, was introductory in nature, and the second will be on energy. When we are talking about sustainability, I think the most important aspect is energy. Just now the energy, the type of energy which we are using is based on carbon, and the carbon footprint or the kind of pollution or global warming, all are related to that. So what are the energy consumption pattern, what are the energy options which we have, so that those carbon footprint could be reduced and we had a better energy options available to that.
Dr. Mishra, the Ministry of Earth Sciences is the closest entity when one talks about the issue of sustainable development. Our listeners would like to know more about, latest activities and advancements in the field pioneered by the Ministry of Earth Sciences.
I would like to amend one point of my friend Tyagiji. He mentioned that the human race is facing the threat of the extinction. I would like to amend it. The human race is facing a challenge of safe survival. Because you see, I always mention that according to the evolution of the earth, if you see that, there is a lot of development and there is a lot of the degradation also. So the human race is now trying to use the entire natural resources for their benefit. Because if you see the science, it is a knowledge, proved practically is the science. Then you make it in a practice, it is the technology. Then exploit that technology for the benefit of the society, the engineering. So that is actually the theme of the science, technology and engineering. So here the Ministry of Earth Sciences try to understand, as Gopiji rightly said, that the earth is vast, earth system science is a very mystery, because among the all 9 planets, only the earth has a beautiful greeneries and the water and everything, it is life. So we call it Mother Earth. We are getting almost all benefit from the Mother Earth. Now Ministry of Earth Sciences try to understand the each and every arena of the Ministry of Earth Sciences, whether it is the atmosphere, related to atmospheric phenomena, you know the climatological changes, meteorological changes, and that is actually the backbone of the giving the greenery to the entire on the subsurface of the earth. Subsurface, there is a lot of the earth is dynamic, so electrical field is there, magnetic field is there. If there is any disturbances in the electrical magnetic field of the earth, the entire system getting changed. You might have aware that there is now the sun flares coming up, magnetic strip is going to be destroyed, ozone layer is there. So the time when we started to detect that the ozone is getting depleted, then we understand that there is something happening abnormal. Why it is happening that is in the 70s, 60s, but it started in the few hundred years ago, but human is not able to understand that. So science try to understand that what are the indicators that can say that there is a changes of the temperature and pressure, and that changes in temperature and pressures lead to abnormal disastrous events going to take place. Now here sustainability, as you mentioned, the sustainability of the development, you can, best example now is the rapid and haphazard urbanization. Everybody want to make everything new, not like a village, you know. They wanted to change their road, they wanted to change their entire system, almost all their dwellings as urbanization aspects of that. And rapid urbanization leads to global warming. If you have a haphazard, non-planning, there is a lot of the problems after the urbanizations and called a new risks. So these are the new risks you are doing that. So Ministry of Earth Sciences try to understand the atmospheric phenomenon changes. What is the difference of the 30 or 40 years ago, the climate indicators that there is somewhere a scanty of rains, there is a drought, there were lot of the rains in the floods, and now the frequency of the flood and the frequency of the scanty means the drought is changing. So this type of the study we are doing, and now we know that the predictions of the monsoons and prediction of the El Nino is one of the challenging issue that we are giving the Kisan bulletins, we are giving the forecasting bulletins to every times that what is going on. And prediction wise in the atmospheric phenomenon we are near bit very closer to our predictions. Of course the earth is dynamic, so sometimes I am predicting and few seconds it's getting changed. So there is a type of these things happening. Second point is the ocean, because there is a close interactions between atmosphere and ocean. Without ocean interactions and earth's surface interactions, there is no change of the heat budget. You cannot predict the budget of the rainfall. You cannot predict the duration of the drought. You cannot predict the durations of the rainfall, right? So these all studied by the Ministry of Earth Sciences. And the second most important aspect is the glacials, the glacial study. We are able to do that. But for safe dwelling, the Ministry of Earth Sciences try to make a risk resilient structures. Just today you have seen that in Bombay or some cities, the very well built structures collapsed. The age is only 10 or 20 years. That means we did not use the building design codes. We did not use the risk resilient type of the structures in such a climate change scenario. We are doing to everything, but we are not protecting that what is going to happen to the severe storm, what is going to happen in the severe rain, what happens to this building in the earthquake shaking. So Ministry of Earth Sciences taking care of the safe dwelling, how to do that. So they are generating a seismic microresonations codes that foundation design should be there and the building design should be there so they can sustain that. So this is also in the vital structures, nuclear plants, your thermal plants, your vital our administrative buildings. These all should be safe in the climate change induced disaster events. So these are the aspects that Ministry of Earth Sciences developed through the awarenesses by the monitoring, early warning system generations, giving the information to the people. But the communications is the role is equal to of the Vigyan-Prasar. They are connecting to the each and every ministry. They wanted to popularize those scientific researches for the action plan. And that is the need of the hour, that for sustainable development, you have a proper action plan so that people can adopt and can use it.
From the technological and scientific perspective, we now come to, as Dr. Mishra said, action plans, the implementation part of it. Now, in any country's implementation ecosystem, it ultimately becomes the administration's responsibility to ensure that policies formed in board meetings and on paper actually translate into concrete action. In the realm of sustainable development, Mr. Ranjan, what are the emerging challenges for planners?
First of all, let me congratulate Vigyan-Prasar for introducing such beautiful program for our listeners to create awareness about sustainable development and sustainable development goals for our listeners because it is an All India Radio program, and thanks to All India Radio for inviting me. Now, as Manoj rightly pointed out, that these are the policy challenges. there are whole lot of policy challenges in the area of implementation in the field of sustainable development. In fact, I would like to mention here that when sustainable development word was coined sometime in 1987 in the Brundtland report, since that time sustainable development has been in lots of controversies. Like there has been contradictions about sustainable development. If there has to be a sustainable development, then there has to be exploitation of resources. If exploitation of resources has to be there, then development will not be sustainable. It has to come to an end somewhere. This is a vicious circle. So in order to stop this and in order to make this sustainable development continue for our future generations, because we are using what we have, but we have to think in terms of our future generations also, so that what we have inherited from our ancestors, they should get also from us. So we have to make some policies, we have to be vigilant, we have to regulate the use of energy resources, and for this strict implementation of policies are very necessary. I would like to mention one thing here also about the horrific consequences of the exploitation of resources. As Dr. Mishra pointed out earlier, we did not know about this polar seismology. Like the polar regions also are undergoing seismic changes. And in fact, due to global warming and melting of ice caps in the polar regions, there is upwarping of the ocean surface also. So all the experts, and you must have seen the movie 2012. 2012, in light of this study, I think 2012 is a reality somewhere down the line, 20-30 years down the line. Because in 2012, Africa became the mainland and the polar regions changed and everything in the earth changed. So if we not regulate the use of energy, if we not limit by strict policy implementations, then 2012 may become a reality in the times to come, say not 20-30 years, then 40-50 years.
Manoj, with your permission, just I want Dr. Mishra actually hear what Ranjanji is saying. There is a two aspect, looking at the whole problem. When we look at this climate change and global warming at a geological scale, where the time scale is in 1,000 year and lakhs of year, because geologists see like climate change is a cyclic process but that is at the geological scale, which take years. But here now we have a very concrete data to support that this change is because of anthropogenic in origin.
Human-related interventions.
Yes, human-related interventions.
Definitely.
And this is happening at a very small time scale, 100 years or 150 years. So, whatever with this intervention, we are seeing the result. As you say, the seismicity of polar region and all that. It create a very situation of very confusing, like what to believe and what to not.
Yeah, very, very thought-provoking question. But I have answer for that. I mentioned that the Earth system is changing, right? Now, cyclic process is related to the paleo effects. So, whatever today I am seeing, it has a link to the paleo effects. Okay. So, just like suppose in 100 years, you are seeing that, but it is related to 1,000 years and some few million years that has linkage that was now manifested. So built up take a time. The earth has a 4.5 billion years age. So if any system changes, and if you are seeing today, it is just like the father sowing a seed and a grandchildren getting a fruit. Same thing is that. If the started happening of the 4.5 billion years, now the question arises whether the earth is old or young. Because you don't know at what stage earth is today. Is it in the last stage of the earth? 4.5 billion years today, how long the earth will survive? So the entire processes is related to the earth system is of the geological scale. And whatever the effects you are seeing, it is today, it has a cyclic link to the past. That is called a paleo effect. Now the main important question you ask, that it was due to the anthropogenic effect. Anthropogenic effect is the facilitator of the natural events happening. Suppose you have something suffering and somebody provoked you and some actions you have taken. So your yield will be the facilitated to yield just now. Just called a premature ejaculations of the volcanic eruptions. Suppose there was no volcano in the Barren or in the Narcondam, but if the tsunami-genic earthquakes comes, then the magma comes up and there is the volcanic eruptions. Our forefathers 200 years, they did not see that volcanic eruption taken place in Narcondam. That was the dormant volcano. But it oozes the smokes and all things. So I am telling that the anthropogenic is component which is just like a facilitator. So the question arises that if there was no anthropogenic activity, just after few million years of the birth of the earth, the carbon dioxide was too much.
You want to say like it bound to happen.
It bound to happen,
It has been-
but its rate can be reduced because if the million years take, so many generations suffered it.
Okay.
But suppose I am telling that the carbon dioxide is using out from the volcanic eruptions, and you are putting again fossil fuels there in surrounding. Of course, that budget and this budget will increase that. So now we wanted to say that the earth itself creating its own features, but it has a healing ability, absorbing ability. Just I say that just put a dig and you don't fill up. After the 1 month, it will fill up. Nobody can detect there was the dig. Why? This is called a natural healing effect. Okay, so there should not be any confusions about the earth system processes and the climatic change which we are going to see that today. So I mentioned you that 65 million years a dinosaurs was there. It totally distinct from the earth because of the deciduous climate changes and all these things. So I think that geological and the anthropogenic effects is quietly related. That one is the process related, another is the facilitator of the processes.
Okay.
So we can say that 100 years of our age. So can you control the carbon emission?
Sir, I would like to intervene here. As Dr. Mishra said, that anthropogenic effects have accelerated the process of geological events. For a layman, it is more appropriate. But if human-related interventions have accelerated the process of geological happenings, then human-related intervention can reduce also.
At common parlance, we can say like by human intervention, we have increased the aging process of our planet Earth in a way.
Aging process
Means like if the lifespan of planet Earth is this much, the human intervention or human anthropogenic activity has reduced it. Like by smoking, you are reducing your age.
No. I'm not going to age. I never tell that I am going to reduce the age. By the human interactions, you can retard or you can create obstructions to obstruct the normal processes. For some times, you see the Indus Valley civilization, 3200 BC or now 5000 years ago, the people are telling what happens to Indus Valley civilization. Civilizations has destroyed by the natural effects. Just I mentioned, Manoj, Tibet was the highest peak for many years. But Tibet is now plateau and the Himalaya is the highest peak. This means that the natural process dynamism is going on. And now we're telling that the Himalaya is just 0.5 centimeter rising every year. That means the dynamo is going on, the earth is agile. Once it is stopped, it becomes like a Mars and like the Saturn. There is nothing. You see?
Okay.
So these are the actually processes.
Point,
Just like a few examples, very good questions. I want to clarify to listeners that Din and Rat is the 24 hours of the earth called a translational motion, diurnal motion. Ritu Parivartan is the secular motions of the year, 365 days. So you can see that now it is reduced, the distance is coming, the Indian plate is moving, so many things are taking place. So next, you can have the earth, you have to save the earth. So let not destruct or not obstruct the earth common processes. Abnormality, you don't create it. That's why carbon mat emission karo, because ozone layer and the protective layer will be destroyed. Solar flare, now we were thinking, science are thinking to make the magnetic guard to repel the solar flares. So science detects the destruction and science provides the safety. How to do that? Science detects the tumor and science also gave the way how to operate the tumor and take out from the body. Similarly, we are doing all these things. So it is very important, sir, ki we have to learn to use the natural resources not for the exploitation, for optimizations.
Gopichandra ji has a point.
Great. I think All India Radio and institutions like Vigyan-Prasar, which interface with our citizens, fellow citizens, must in fact bring as many of these experts as possible often to deliberate on these issues. On behalf of Vigyan-Prasar, I'm grateful to both of you and my wonderful colleague Tyagi who made this. To quickly summarize all the wonderful things that have been said, if I was a listener at the other end, I will say, oh my, what a lovely set of people who are at the center of science and technology expertise in our country. Great, I'm very happy about it. The takeaways for me would be, number one, whatever be the science interpretation of a phenomenon, let there be a lot of investigation and debate. What matters for me at the local level is impacts management. One takeaway from the discussion is adaptation. Adaptation means reducing vulnerability of our systems. I really do not know what the earth was in the past. As a person living at the age of 55 years of mine, I will not know how the earth will be in the future. But at the moment, I see whatever the cause, the impacts of it here today. Okay? Therefore, sustainable development engagement means what can I do to be able to resolve these? The agenda of science is the agenda of truth. My agenda is to foster that truth. That is the essence of sustainable development.
With that, we come to the end of episode number 9 of our science serial Life Must Go On. And
Manoj, I
it's
think today we have also received few letters. Can we read out few letters
quickly, before
or
we
at least the
close,
name of
this one is from Ramdas Marskole, village Munda, post Kahani, Tehsil Lakhnadon, district Sivni of
MP.
Madhya
This is-
Pradesh.
Yeah.
And then there's another letter from Sanjeev Kumar. He's a regular writer from Karnal, Haryana. And the contents revolve around, they've been listening to the program regularly. And
few of them I think also has replied the question which we have been asking at the end of each episode. I think.
is it Sanjeev Kumar?
Yes. I think this time we are not declaring the winner because we have not received all the letters. So in next episode, I think we'll announce the winner of each episode.
Sure.
Because we don't have all the letters with us today. So
let's hope our listeners have noted this point, and I take this opportunity to thank Mr. Amitabh Ranjan, Dr. O.P. Mishra, Mr. B.K. Tyagi and Dr. R. Gopichandran for sparing time to come here and discuss this very important issue of sustainable development. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Life must go on. You were listening to the 9th episode of this science serial produced by All India Radio in collaboration with Vigyan-Prasar, interactive program based on listeners' letters. Participants, experts were Shri Amitabh Ranjan, Registrar, Indian Institute of Public Administration, Dr. O.P. Mishra, Senior Scientist and Deputy Director General, Ministry of Earth Sciences, Dr. R. Gopichandran, Director, Vigyan-Prasar, Dr. Birendra Tyagi, Senior Scientist, Vigyan-Prasar, recording and mixing, Akhya Jayavardhan, and it was moderated by Manoj Mainkar. You can send your letters by simple post. Our address is Science Serial, Life Must Go On, All India Radio, room number 615, New Broadcasting House, Sansad Marg, New Delhi, 110001. You can also write on our email ID, radio@vigyanprasad.gov.in. Please do write or mail us your full name, age and profession. If associated with Science Club, do let us know the membership of your club. If you have any query or question, don't hesitate to write to us. We will be back again with the next episode of this science serial. Life must go on, same day, same time next week. Till then, goodbye.